We are live. Get a grip on lighting here at the Canada Light Expo on Thursday, November the 14th. And it is my great pleasure to once again be joined by Dawn Brown. Nice to see you again, Dawn.
Nice to see you too.
The last time we spoke, it was the middle of the pandemic, I think. Do you remember? 2021 maybe?
Yeah, might have been. Yeah.
Something like that. I remember it being
Mhm.
pandemic-y time kind of thing. And I remember it being one of my favorite conversations on the show. And when I saw the thing, everyone's like, oh, you're going to talk to Robert Solar? You're going to talk to Robert Solar? I told the producers I want to talk to you
Oh, wow.
instead.
I feel honored. Thank you.
So welcome back.
Yeah.
What was your, what did you give a talk? Were you on a panel?
Oh, yeah.
What was it?
So actually, me and Robert were talking on a panel, little discussion about light and health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. LED and health, I think it was titled. Yeah.
And what emerged from it in the dialogue while on stage? Did anything change? Do you know something more now? Sometimes we as presenters, we learn more when we're being asked questions and stuff.
Yeah, actually, but I don't know how interesting this would be to the audience. Maybe very interesting. I don't know. But I always thought that the CIE recommendation for nighttime illuminance at the eye, or melanopic equivalent illuminance at the eye, was 10 and under. But it's actually, that's the metric for evening scenario.
Ah.
And then at night, it's less than 1.
Wow.
So I learned that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of the fixtures that BIOS is coming out with, the new fixture line that they're coming out with?
Yeah, I have. I think they're great. So I actually own one of the Skyview lamps.
The table lamps?
Yep,
Mhm.
yep. It's really cool. It does, I don't know, dawn signaling. Do you know what dawn signaling is?
No, tell me all about it.
Okay, so dawn signaling is, I remember this because it has my name in it, is when the light gradually comes up in the morning, maybe 10 minutes before you get up.
Yes.
So
Dawn signaling.
Yes. So the Skyview lamp, when you get it, it comes with a little app, and you set it up based on your longitude, latitude, or your postal code or whatever. And then you can decide whether you want it to go like on a schedule or manual or whatever. So I have mine on a schedule, and it always comes on in the morning, like before, and it adjusts for daylight savings time and all of that. But it always comes on like just before I need to get up. And I mean, I don't even have it in the same room that I'm sleeping in, but it's not too far off. Like, it's not across the house or anything, but I can tell when it comes on in the morning, and it's great. And then throughout the day, I've always been kind of affected by the weather, and like even as a kid, when it was like a rainy day out, I was like, oh, it's like, you know,
seasonal
so
affective
great.
disorder is real.
Yeah. It's
a real thing.
Yeah, and
yes.
Having that at my workstation with me, like I work from home, so it's a game changer. And I guess he has now a similar product that's going to go on the ceiling, which would be great for offices and kindergarten, like elementary schools, and I'm sure there's like a lot that I'm just not thinking of right now, but yeah.
Producer's office at Get a Grip Studios.
Yeah, yeah.
We had on some guys that make light that looks like windows, frosted windows or skylights.
Oh, okay.
The producer says, this is a real cave back here. Why don't you get me 2 of those pretend skylights? So I did. So I bought 2, and you put in the. It makes a real difference, actually. You wouldn't believe. You look from outside the office at Scott, and you look in, and it looks like there's a skylight in the ceiling there. The way the light looks.
Yeah.
And Scott reports feeling better, actually.
Yeah,
no
that's
kidding.
good. That's good, because you can get burned with those too, eh?
Is that right?
Yeah, because sometimes they don't put the proper spectrum of light into the skylight, and then they'll sell it as a skylight fixture, but it's not actually triggering like a biological response. So the good ones will do that, and honestly, like if it's bright enough, you'll trigger a response. But you got to be careful. You got to look at the spectral power distribution of the product if you're going to buy product.
Okay, we're checking it
Yeah.
when we get back. It's not
Yeah.
burning you, Scott. She's she's an LED alarmist.
Yeah, I am.
So, but you know what? I don't know if, the blood pressure is better or anything like that. All I know is that he actually likes it a lot.
Yeah.
And so do I.
It's uplifting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And part of lighting is good lighting design.
Mm-hmm.
It's how we feel with the light.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've forgotten a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. And because a lot of times people who design lighting or engineer lighting,
Specify it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. They focus on the numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So look up in a book, what's the number that's in the book? What am I going to get from my calculation? They
Sure.
match, good, I'm done. And they don't look at where is that light positioned so that it's not glary. And is it comfortable to be under? And then how is that person going to control it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's great to have bright light during the day, but you don't want that in the evening and at night. So how can we control it so that it's like consistent? So I always have this term that I call customizable consistency. So in our
customizable consistency. I
yes.
like that. I want to hear what your definition of that is. I like that term.
When you're doing circadian lighting, you want to have the ability to customize it so that it suits you, your personal preference, and like just the timing of it. For example, like my morning is not at the same time as maybe somebody else's morning.
Sure.
So especially if you're doing a shift work or something
Sure.
like that, right? So you want to be able to customize it, but then you want to be able to save that custom setting.
Sure.
So that you can keep going back to it day after day so that it's consistent over time. So you need some sort of control that is more than just a toggle switch on the wall or a dimmer switch on the wall.
But it's
usually
not so complicated that every time you want to address something, it takes an hour to figure it out.
Exactly. Like a nice cute little app where you can, everything's intuitive. And
I think we should forget about the phone and we should just get the app on the light switch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or fine. I have a couple. I have a couple things that you can kind of compare to this at home that have nothing to do with lighting. But so I have the Wi-Fi. I don't like signals. So in my house, everyone has to turn off their phones at night to charge them, and then I disconnect I live on a farm, so I disconnect the power to the antenna and the Wi-Fi router.
Oh yeah.
So all of the signals are dead at 10 o'clock at night.
That's good.
Sunday to Thursday. And it goes to 1 on Friday and Saturday. And then it comes on at 5 a.m. and off at 1 p.m. and then on again at 5:30.
Okay.
So there's times when there's no internet or any signals in my house whatsoever. Okay? So there's no Wi-Fi. So the kids always wait till the Wi-Fi is off. That's what I wait till the Wi-Fi is off, Dad. I'm like, okay, fine, deal.
Yeah.
Right? Wi-Fi is off in 20 minutes, Dad.
Yeah.
So, but that's a configurable consistency that you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Or what was
Customized
consistency?
consistency.
Customized consistency.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they know that, Sunday to Thursday, Wi-Fi's off at 10. You know? I think we could do something like that with lighting. We could look at lighting like that.
Yeah. In our new builds and new construction, I know there's a lot of, renovations and stuff like that, but I think that we need to start investing in digital controls. Like, we have to get past the analog. I know 0 to 10 volt, I don't know how technical the audience is, but
varying degrees.
yeah. So, very popular in commercial
0 to 10
application volt is your standard 0 to 10 volt driver. And, but it's not smart.
No.
So there's other controls that might cost a little bit more material-wise, but maybe they're a little easier to install. But the point is that they're smart. There's a two-way communication. And yes, they're a little bit more sophisticated in the background, but that level of sophistication allows the user interface at the keypad or the switch or whatever you want to call it, that to be very simple.
That's what it has to be.
Yeah, very simple.
When you see if the teachers can't go back to the light switches and address the lighting,
Yep.
That's the maximum they're going to give you. The maximum most teachers will give you is walking to the back of the classroom and doing something with a light switch.
Yep. They just want to press a button.
Yeah.
It's nap time or it's
scene
class time.
Maybe give them some scenes.
Yeah.
Button scenes.
Yeah.
Right?
And then they can customize that scene, right?
But it has to be consistent.
Yes. So that they can do.
So they go to the back of the classroom where the light switch is, and there's their scenes or whatever. And maybe can you do a new scene for me? Can you let the Wi-Fi stay on to 11, Dad? Well, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not like every time you go up to it, how do I log into this thing? What's my password?
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da. Oh,
or where did I have that yesterday?
Yeah.
Where was the dial at? And you see the little marker line like on there. Yeah. You definitely just want to, and especially, in healthcare with nurses, they're going in and out to see each patient and whatnot. Wouldn't it be nice if they just go into the room, press a low button, and then the lighting is set for evening.
Yes.
And then you could even have like a profile for an older resident or an older patient and one for the standard population. And so if you have an older patient come in and they need more light in the evening and night than the average person, then you switch over to that profile behind the scenes through the software and then it stays like that until that patient goes and a new patient comes, and then maybe you switch it back over to the standard profile.
But the nurses choose that. You know what I'm saying? They or maybe there's a standard setting and they adjust something quickly, but it goes back to the standard setting. Things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going to talk about it anyway. I can't remember this lovely woman who works at PNL's name. Oh. But she did the queuing, the testing on the queuing. Where, oh, what's her name? Scotty Dubs. What's her name?
The time queuing lady from PNL.
Do you remember? Anyway.
I know exactly what you're talking about, though, yeah.
So, sorry about that. I love you still. I just can't remember your name right now on the live stream.
Yes.
But, when she was saying that, the nurses would go into the maternity ward, but an hour before wake-up time, the lights came on very low at 1900 Kelvin and very dim. And then slowly over the course of 45 minutes, they went to 3000 K and about 3 times as much light. And all the mothers and babies were already awake and breastfeeding when the nurses came in. Yeah. And then at night, when the visiting hours were over, they started dimming the lights about 20 minutes before the visiting and warming them and dimming them. Yep. And people start looking at their watches. They don't know what's going on. They're just being told what to do by light. You know what I mean?
Like and the lights, the atmosphere is changing.
Exactly. Yes. So they react. Oh, geez, it's 9:30. Oh, wow, it's getting darker. Maybe this human who is not a diurnal species should go somewhere to lay down. Yeah. You know what I mean? Find a cave quick. You know what I mean? There could be lions out there. Whatever it is in their brains that works like that. Our brains, actually. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a whole segment of queuing that I don't think we talk about enough. How much we could bring the theatrical lighting into the general lighting.
Yeah, we can, absolutely. And it's a valuable resource to have. There's a little bit extra cost associated with doing that. And it's not circadian, like it's not biological, but
there's a hell of a lot more value, Dawn. Like if you're able to set that up for a customer where it works like that, that's very valuable. Now nobody's going around, excuse me, visiting hours are almost over. Time to go.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. In that regard, it is. It's just you don't want to misconstrue that sort of thing with an actual biologically stimulating daytime, nighttime circadian system, right? So there's the two different ones. Because I just say that because for the longest time there was a lot of confusion, and I'm sure that if you're not familiar with the lighting industry, you could still be confused as to whether or not tunable or time queuing is a circadian thing. For circadian, you actually have to have the biological component of the light triggering your system. But
this is what I think Dr. Jennifer Veach calls this integrative lighting. That is bringing circadian with queuing and all this other stuff under one kind of heading for us. That this is a category of lighting that makes people feel better, makes people do things that are better in a better way. It helps us live better.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Like traffic lights are queuing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's a major lighting queuing intervention we have. Red, green, blue. Or I'm sorry, red, yellow. I got it wrong.
Yeah.
Red, yellow, green. I think queuing could really be expanded. I don't know what you think about that.
No, I think it can be. And I love the idea, and especially like even, for kids that it's almost time to go to bed.
Oh, yeah.
And so, when we see that the lighting gets warm,
yes,
we know
we're sitting by the fire now.
Almost time to start winding down, because even my son he's just turned 13 yesterday, but when he was younger, he has ADHD.
Okay.
And so he had a really hard time transitioning. And so having a routine that we did every night, and I was not, I didn't have a fancy queuing system in my home, but I was of the mindset that I turned the overhead lights down and I put the table lamps on, and I made that evening environment like a little bit different for him. And so absolutely, if we can integrate a visual cue into our day, in our daily routine, even think of like how effective that could be for like a long-term care facility, because one of the main reasons why people tend to put their loved one into care is because of sleep, irregular sleep. And so, when they first come to the care facility, it takes, a while for them to adapt. Of
course.
And so if we have that time cue in conjunction with the actual, with circadian stimulus during the day and taking it at night, it's just reinforcing to them that, this is, a regular day-night thing. And when I see the light go to warm, we're getting close to supper time, or we're getting close to, time to go to bed or whatever. So in the winter, I heat my home in the evening with wood. So I burn firewood every night in my house, and I have a really big fireplace with a blower on it, and it heats the entire first floor and second floor. And I have a pretty big house. Okay, so there's so much heat energy from this fire, and it goes into the vents, and the vents push it all around the house, and it's super warm. But you know what? Everybody wants to sit by the fire at night. Yeah.
During the day, they won't sit by the fire. So if I light a fire, sometimes on a Saturday, I'll light a fire just to heat the house if it's really cold out, to give less strain on my heat pump. I'll do one. Nobody wants to sit by it during the day. In the morning, yes. If they come down in the morning and there's a fire, I'll sit by the fire and drink my coffee in the morning. Middle of the day, they don't want to sit by the fire. End of the day, they sit by the fire. And then they want to go to bed and they start yawning. There's something about that. Andrea Wilkerson. Thank you. I remember you now. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
But there's something about that lower light level. Maybe there's something to the infrared of the heat too. That just makes you want to be close to the ones you love.
Yeah.
It makes you want to go into a bed and get comfortable, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lay your head down.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it makes sense. Like, we associate like warmness with sleeping and nighttime and comfort, and then the coolness of the light, and that is more alerting and in a daytime sort of psychological trigger. And so, it makes sense that you would want to be by the fire in the evening. And I'm sure that there's a lot of other biological things happening when you're beside the fire and you change the light and take out the blue and boost, the red and infrared and what that's doing to your system. But
that's a halogen incandescent fire-only room. Yeah. I don't have any LED lights in that room. I have halogen lights on the wall. And incandescent table lamps and the infrared fire.
So you get a lot of red in there, a lot of warmth.
People love to sit in that room at night when the fire is going. In the winter,
that's good.
Yeah, it's just like there's something to that I think we can incorporate into queuing, so that we were able to help people sleep, like you said. The lighting industry can do that.
Yep, for sure. Or just relax.
Or just relax, yeah.
Yeah, we need to relax, yeah.
On that note, we're going to let Dawn Brown relax.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for coming back on Get a Grip
problem.
on Lighting. It's a
No
live
problem.
stream, but
Yep.
thank you. And, of course, we're at the Canada Light Expo. It is November the 14th. It's Thursday. There's still one more day and a great lineup tomorrow. But for now, thanks for listening. Bye for now.